So, yesterday in a meeting, I completely blanked and called our new software a silent partner instead of a client portal.
A silent partner? That's a completely different business meeting.
I know, everyone just looked at me, and my brain decided that was the moment to malfunction.
That's such a classic nervous moment, though. Your English wasn't actually the problem.
Exactly. My confidence just left the building for about 10 seconds.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today, communicating with confidence in English.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Crack the Lingo.
We're talking about confidence today. Real confidence, not the fake speak really fast kind.
Right, because a lot of people think sounding confident means talking fast and never pausing.
I used to believe that too, honestly. I thought pausing made me look unsure.
We're going to talk about why that's actually backwards and give you real phrases you can use when your brain freezes mid-sentence.
No boring grammar lecture here, just two friends talking about awkward meeting moments and how to recover from them.
So get comfortable and let's get into it.
Before we start, quick favor, if you're enjoying Crack the Lingo, hit the like button.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. New episodes every week to help your English sound more natural.
And here's today's comment question. What's the most awkward word mix-up you've ever made in English?
Write your answer below in English. We genuinely read every comment.
Okay, let's go back to your silent partner moment. Walk me through what actually happened in your head.
Honestly, I knew exactly what I wanted to say. The idea was completely clear in my mind.
So it wasn't a knowledge problem.
Not at all. The second everyone looked at me, though, I panicked and just grabbed the wrong words.
That's such a common experience. I think a lot of people assume if they mess up, it means their English isn't good enough.
Exactly, but that's not really true. It's more about pressure hitting you in the moment.
Right, your brain basically freezes for a second, even though you actually know the material.
Exactly that. And after my mistake, I apologized like 3 separate times.
3 times? Really?
Yes, I said sorry, then explained I'm bad at explaining things, then apologized again for apologizing too much.
That's such a spiral. One small mistake turning into a whole apology tour.
Exactly, and looking back, that probably drew more attention to the mistake than the mistake itself did.
That's such an important point, actually. Over-apologizing kind of keeps the mistake in the spotlight longer.
Right, instead of just quietly fixing it and moving forward.
So what would you do differently now, looking back on that meeting?
Honestly, just say, sorry, I mean client portal, and keep going. One quick correction, nothing more.
That sounds so much calmer than the 3 apology version.
It really is. I've learned that a small, clean correction sounds way more confident than a big explanation.
I completely agree with that. The big explanation almost makes it seem like a bigger deal than it actually was.
Exactly. People usually forget small mix-ups quickly, unless you remind them constantly that you're panicking.
That's such good advice, honestly. Let's talk about the whole speed thing, too. Do you think talking fast actually sounds confident?
I used to think so, honestly. I thought fluent people just talked fast without stopping.
I thought the exact same thing for years, but now I actually think slower, calmer speech sounds more confident.
Why do you think that shifted for you?
Because fast talking sometimes just means someone is nervous and rushing, not that they're actually confident.
That's such a good distinction. Fast isn't automatically the same as fluent.
Exactly. Meanwhile, someone speaking slowly but clearly usually sounds like they're actually in control.
I actually disagree a little there, at least partly. I think speed does matter somewhat, just not as much as we think.
Fair. What do you mean exactly?
Like, extremely slow speech with long, awkward silences can feel just as uncomfortable as rushed speech.
That's a fair point, actually. There's probably a difference between pausing with purpose and just freezing completely.
Exactly. Freezing feels like your brain disappeared. Pausing feels like you're just choosing your next thought carefully.
I love that distinction. A pause can actually look confident if it feels intentional.
Right. It's not about never stopping. It's about how the stopping feels.
Does body language play into this too, or is it purely about the words themselves?
Honestly, I think it plays a huge role. Standing or sitting confidently can change how a pause actually feels to the listener.
That's interesting. Do you consciously think about that when you're speaking, or is it more automatic?
A little of both, honestly. I used to fold my arms and look down whenever I felt unsure, which probably made me look more nervous than I actually was.
I do something similar, actually. I fidget with my hands a lot when I'm searching for a word.
Does that fidgeting ever distract you from actually finding the word?
Sometimes yes, honestly. I get so focused on the fidgeting that my brain forgets what it was even looking for.
That's such a relatable spiral. The nervous habit becomes its own little distraction.
Exactly. I've started trying to just keep my hands still and take one breath instead.
Did that actually help, or did it feel awkward at first?
Awkward at first, honestly, but now it feels more natural and I think it makes my pauses look more intentional.
That's such a small change. Sometimes tiny physical adjustments affect how confident you actually feel.
Completely agree. Confidence isn't only about the words, it's the whole package. Tone, posture, even breathing.
Let's talk about accents for a second, too. Do you think having an accent affects confidence?
Honestly, I think it shouldn't, but I know a lot of learners worry about it constantly.
I used to worry about mine a lot, especially in professional settings.
What changed that for you?
Honestly, realizing that clarity matters way more than sounding like a specific accent. People just want to understand you.
That's such an important point. An accent isn't a mistake, it's just part of how you speak.
Exactly. And honestly, most listeners care more about your message than your accent anyway.
I completely agree with that. Some of the most confident speakers I know have strong accents, and it never once affected how clear they sounded.
Right. Confidence and accent are honestly two completely separate things, even though people sometimes confuse them.
Quick challenge for everyone listening right now. Pause for a second and think of one phrase you could use the next time your brain goes blank.
It could be something simple, like, give me a second to think. Nothing fancy.
Exactly. Write it in the comments if you come up with one. We're genuinely curious.
Okay, back to us. Let's talk about the inner voice for a second. Do you get that little voice telling you you're doing badly while you're actually speaking?
Constantly, honestly. Mine says things like, you sound slow, or they're definitely judging you right now.
Mine says something similar, usually in the middle of a sentence, which is the worst possible timing.
That's exactly it. It always picks the worst moment to show up.
Do you think that inner voice ever actually goes away completely?
Honestly, I don't think it fully disappears, but I think you learn to manage it instead of obeying it.
Manage it. That's such a useful way to frame it. Not eliminate, just manage.
Exactly. Even confident speakers still get nervous sometimes. They've just learned not to let the nerves drive the whole conversation.
I really needed to hear that, honestly. I always assumed confident people just don't feel that voice at all.
I used to think that too, but I don't think it's actually true for most people.
That's such a relieving thought, honestly. Confidence isn't the absence of nerves, it's what you do despite them.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about asking for clarification. Do you find that hard to do in English?
Honestly, yes, especially in professional settings. I always worry it makes me look like I don't understand basic things.
I felt the exact same way for a long time, but I've noticed native speakers ask for clarification constantly.
Really? I always assumed native speakers understand everything immediately.
Not at all, honestly. People say things like, sorry, what do you mean? Or can you say that another way all the time?
That's actually really reassuring. So it's not just a learner problem then.
Not at all. It's just a normal part of communication, regardless of your first language.
I think I avoid asking sometimes and just nod along, hoping I'll figure it out later.
Oh, I've absolutely done that before, and it usually backfires eventually.
What happened when it backfired for you?
Someone asked if I could handle something by Friday, and I just smiled and agreed without fully understanding the task.
Oh no, how did that turn out?
Friday arrived and I'd completed the wrong version of the task entirely.
That sounds stressful, but also honestly relatable.
It really was. Now I just ask directly, something like, just to clarify, do you mean this or that?
That phrase sounds so much more professional than smiling and hoping for the best.
Exactly, and it actually saves everyone time in the long run, even if it feels a little uncomfortable to ask in the moment.
I think that discomfort is honestly worth it compared to fixing a whole misunderstanding later.
Completely agree. Do you ever practice these phrases alone before you actually need them?
Honestly, yes. Sometimes I say them out loud in the shower or while driving, just so they feel natural.
That sounds a little funny, but honestly, it makes sense. Rehearsed phrases probably come out smoother under pressure.
Exactly. If I've already said, just to clarify, 100 times casually, it doesn't feel scary to say it in an actual meeting.
That's such a smart approach. I've never actually practiced phrases like that on purpose.
You should try it, honestly. Even just picking one phrase and repeating it a few times during the day helps a lot.
I might actually try that this week. Do you have a specific phrase you're currently practicing?
Right now, it's let me rephrase that. I used to just repeat the same wrong sentence louder, which never worked.
Louder doesn't magically make a wrong word right, unfortunately.
Exactly. I learned that the hard way, more than once, honestly.
I think my current phrase would be, give me 1 second, just to buy a little thinking time without going silent completely.
That's such a good one. Short, natural, and it doesn't sound nervous at all.
That's the goal, honestly. Something short enough that it doesn't feel like a whole speech.
Okay, here's a question. Do you think confidence looks different in your first language compared to English?
That's such an interesting question, actually. I think I'm naturally more confident in my first language, just automatically.
Do you think that gap will close eventually the more you speak English?
I hope so, honestly. I've already noticed it's smaller than it used to be a few years ago.
That's such encouraging progress. Confidence really does seem to build slowly over time, not overnight.
Exactly. And I think that's an important thing for learners to hear, especially if they feel stuck right now.
Definitely. Nobody wakes up one day suddenly fully confident in a new language.
True. It's built through small, sometimes awkward moments over and over again.
Okay, here's a question. Do you think people actually judge learners as harshly as we assume they do?
Honestly, probably not as much as we imagine, though I'm sure some people do notice mistakes. Some people will notice, some people won't care at all, and you really can't control which one you get.
That's such an important point. You can't control how every single listener reacts.
Exactly, but you can control how you respond afterward, whether you spiral or just continue calmly.
I think that's honestly the real skill, not perfect speech, just calm recovery.
Completely agree. Recovery matters way more than perfection ever will.
Do you ever actually celebrate those small confident moments, or do you just move on quickly?
Honestly, I used to just move on, barely noticing them at all.
Do you do anything differently now?
A little, yes. I try to mentally note it, like, okay, that pause actually worked well. Just a quick acknowledgement.
I love that idea, honestly. Noticing small wins probably reinforces the habit more than we realize.
Exactly. It's easy to only remember the awkward moments and completely forget the smooth ones.
That's so true. My brain definitely remembers your silent partner story way more than any calm, confident sentence you've said since.
Thanks for that reminder. The mistakes just stick harder for some reason.
Maybe that's worth changing too, actually paying attention to the moments that go well.
I think that's such a valuable habit, honestly, for confidence in general, not just language learning.
Okay, one more question before vocabulary. If you could give your past self just one confidence tip, what would it be?
Honestly, I'd say stop apologizing so much. One small correction is enough. You don't need 3 apologies.
I'd tell myself that pausing isn't weakness. It's actually just thinking time, and that's completely normal.
Those are both such practical, useful tips, honestly.
All right, let's move into today's vocabulary review before we wrap everything up.
We covered some really useful words and phrases today.
Our first one was blanked, meaning your mind suddenly goes empty and you can't think of anything.
Example, I completely blanked in the meeting and forgot the word I needed.
Next, we had tongue-tied, meaning unable to speak clearly because you're nervous or embarrassed.
Example, I got so tongue-tied during the interview that I mixed up 2 simple words.
Then we had buy yourself time, meaning using a phrase to pause naturally while you think.
Example, I said, give me a second to buy myself time before answering.
We also used bounce back, meaning to recover quickly after a mistake or difficult moment.
Example, I made an awkward mistake, but I managed to bounce back and keep talking.
Next was backfire, meaning a plan or action causes the opposite result of what you wanted.
Example, nodding along without fully understanding backfired by Friday.
And finally, spiral, meaning falling into a pattern of increasingly negative thoughts or reactions.
Example, one small mistake made me spiral into 3 unnecessary apologies.
Great words today: blanked, tongue-tied, buy yourself time, bounce back, backfire, and spiral.
Try using at least one of these the next time you talk about a nervous speaking moment.
Now let's move into a little reflection before we finish today's episode.
I really like this part. It always makes the topic feel personal.
Confidence in a new language often isn't about never making mistakes. It's about how quickly you recover from them.
That's such a good point. Someone who bounces back calmly usually sounds more confident than someone who never makes a mistake at all.
Exactly, because mistakes happen to everyone, learners and native speakers alike.
True. The real difference is just what happens in the seconds right after the mistake.
I think that applies to a lot of life too, honestly, not just speaking English.
Definitely. Recovery is a skill everywhere, not just in language learning.
And honestly, the more you practice recovering from small mistakes, the less scary bigger ones start to feel over time.
That's such a hopeful way to look at it. Small, brave moments eventually add up to real confidence.
So here's our reflection question for you, our listener. What's one phrase you could practice this week to help you pause, clarify, or recover more confidently?
Take a moment and think about it, honestly. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something simple you can actually remember.
Try writing your phrase in English in the comments, using one of today's new words if you can.
We genuinely love reading them. It helps us understand our listeners better, and it helps you practice real English at the same time.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up before I accidentally call something a silent partner again.
Fair enough. Let's summarize today's episode.
We talked about real confidence, pausing versus freezing, asking for clarification, and recovering calmly after mistakes.
And we learned some useful vocabulary: blanked, tongue-tied, buy yourself time, bounce back, backfire, and spiral.
Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about staying calm and continuing, even after a small mistake.
So, next time your brain goes blank mid-sentence, don't panic and apologize 3 times. Just pause, correct yourself, and keep going.
That's how a nervous moment becomes just a normal part of a real conversation.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.
Before you go, tell us one phrase you're going to practice this week to sound calmer and more confident.
We'll be reading the comments, and we genuinely can't wait to hear what you come up with.
Thanks for spending this time with us. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, viewers.